We start here. Lawyer for accused number 3 in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, Charles Mnisi, has been granted a request to take his client for a dental examination. This is to rebut the state's evidence that his client had a gold tooth. Linda Mnisi is at the Pretoria High Court for an update. Yet another postponement. Linda, good afternoon.
Another postponement indeed, Vuyo, and this is to allow the state to now determine whether or not it can fund accused number 3's bid to have a dental examination by specifically a private doctor, because according to Mthobisi Mncube, the alleged gunman in this particular murder case, he does not trust the state and would rather have his examination conducted by a private doctor. This is, of course, after arguments by his lawyer that the state had been sitting with these pictures for quite some time, and by state he indicated that he meant police sitting with these pictures for at least 10 years, the state being the prosecutors having sat with these pictures for about 5 years, and therefore it makes it new evidence. He feels he needs to be granted time to prepare his defense in relation to this evidence that has now been brought by the state in the form of photographic evidence, a picture of him smiling, which the state says shows that he did have a gold tooth. And they're saying it's in line with the description that was given by a passerby, who is Thabang Makeleni, who gave a description of the men he allegedly saw outside the Khumalo home on the night that Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Thabang Makeleni has since passed away and could not testify. He passed away before he could even testify in this matter, but of course playing quite a significant role in the description of the men that he allegedly saw outside of the Khumalo home. So the defense arguing, Bravuyo, that this is in line with accused number 3's constitutional right to a fair trial, which also includes the right to prepare a defense. Take a listen to how Advocate Mnisi argued earlier on.
That the applicant had at no point anticipated that almost 23 months after the commencement of the trial, the prosecution will confront him with entirely new evidence, which would have required him to start the preparations of his defense in the matter on this new evidence, as if the matter is starting from the beginning. Now, this is very clear, man. When a person gets confronted 23 months into the trial and the state having led more than 60 witnesses, they come up with exclusively new evidence. What does that mean? It simply means that the accused or the applicant in this case gets taken to the very first day on which he's supposed to be pleading. He has to start to prepare this trial or his defense as if this matter is starting de novo, specifically with the introduction of this new evidence.
Well, the state is of the view that it has not been sitting on this evidence for 5 years. In fact, it recalled that the primary reason why they, objected to this request is because they say, or one of the reasons given was that this is evidence that was picked up during the long adjournment. It formed part of the bundle of pictures that were given to the defense to go through. And once they realized that there was a picture that shows Mthobisi Mncube having a gold tooth, they then went to the defense and indicated that they would want to use it. Now, part of the arguments, Vuyo, that the defense used is that they were never told about the intention or what the state's intentions were in using these pictures. But the state says, hang on, in your application or in support of your application, the other defense lawyers clearly indicate that our intention was to show that there was a gold tooth. And they're of the view that this is information, this is information that is within accused number 3's personal knowledge. He would not need a dental examiner to then put his version to the witness, who is also not an expert in dentistry. It seems, according to the state, that the accused wants to first test the wind of, the dental examiner before putting his version to the witness. And they say this is basically what falls within your knowledge. You don't need an expert to tell you that you had a gold tooth. You can always at a later stage get a report from a dental examiner when you open your case to continue, arguing your point that you never had a gold tooth. Take a listen to how Advocate Ronisi Banda argued that point.
If accused number 3 disputes that photo in question depicts orthodontic work or gold tooth, he can put that proposition to Sergeant Mabas. If he disputes Sergeant Mabas' observations, he can put it to him that his observation is wrong and that he did not have a gold tooth at the time. Moreover, Sergeant Mabasa is not an identifying witness. He is merely testifying about his own observation on the photo he has downloaded and authenticated. Should the need arise, he can make a request to be dentally examined during his case to support his version that will be placed on record.
Well, the court, Vuyo, had a couple of questions to the state in relation to whether or not Mthobisi Mncube would be able to have the facilities, or if in fact he had the facilities, to go through that picture that the state is leading and be able to zoom and use the mechanics to be able to see what the witness is testifying about. And the state said, well, he does not have those particular facilities, but if granted, then he would be able to view and zoom in and out to get a sense of what they're talking about. The state believed that what is at the heart of what it is advancing in court is whether or not he had a gold tooth, and that would fall within his personal knowledge. After considering, especially after asking those clarity-seeking questions, this is how the judge ruled.
Okay, so the order I grant is the court finds that this accused number 3's counsel has shown on a probabilities that he has persuaded this court that there could possibly be an instantaneous refusal or denial of accused number 3's rights as he understands them. Oh, sorry. So what the order is, consent is accorded to accused number 3 and his counsel to consult, as they say, a dentist or what? A dentist or a dental practitioner of their choice. Right.
So after granting that order, Vuyo, the court wanting to know how this would exactly be done and when exactly Mthobisi Mncube will have his teeth examined by a dentist and what the mechanisms in all of that are. And there was a deliberation on whether or not this would be done by means of a private doctor or even a state doctor. But according to Mthobisi Mncube, he does not trust the state, the very same state that is funding legal representation. He does not trust it, so he would opt to get a different lawyer, a private doctor to examine him. So some of the things that were being discussed is whether or not the state would be able to fund that particular exigency of whether or not he would be examined by a private doctor. And the state said it would need to go and find out and report back. And that is why this matter has now been postponed to Thursday to come back, to allow the state to go and get that information and come back and inform the court. But it's also important to note that this particular incident, or where we are now, happens at a time when the court will be going on recess. So Friday marks the last day of this court term, and that means that court will go on recess and will return on the third term. So the proceedings are likely to continue next term, although, of course, it has not been clear whether or not, they'll continue on Thursday or on Friday. But the defense lawyers have indicated, some defense lawyers in fact have indicated that they are not available during the recess period because they do have other matters to attend to. They are committed in other cases and therefore would not be available during recess. So this happens at a time when the court term ends, Bravi, and will likely impact whether or not this matter proceeds.
Linda Mnisi at the Pretoria High Court, where, of course, the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial was postponed once again.